So this happened this week. I got this book in the mail. I'm not really sure where it came from. And I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Hopefully by the time I finish this book, I can make videos that don't suck. Hello and welcome to my channel, Becoming Bev. I'm gonna do a 3-part video today. I'm gonna catch you up on what's going on with my van build, also show you what we've accomplished this week at the campground, and then the third part is just some random things that go on around here in a week's time. We had some guests staying at the Rustic Rose. They left these balloons in the bathtub, and when we saw that, we thought that's pretty cool, so I snapped a few photos of it. But then we went inside and we found these 2 balloons. I didn't quite know what to think of that. Like, seriously, what are they doing in there? While my van has been in the shop, my daughter's been keeping me plenty busy here at the campground. There's so much to do, it's incredible. And it's amazing what we can accomplish in a week's time. Since my last video, we got the second TP up. We call it the Hip Hawk. We got it totally furnished. I spent a couple of days working inside the teepee. We felt like it needed just a little pizzazz. But on this one, I wanted to paint a design on the interior of the teepee, so I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. Misty and I went over there last night at sunset and built a fire in front of the teepee. It was gorgeous. We had a beautiful sunset and then a full moon, and I took a few photos for our Airbnb listing. Our website still isn't up, but we're working on it. Apparently, there's a lot that goes into building a website that'll integrate with Airbnb and Booking.com and our own website so we can book through it. So that's still on the way. It should happen just any day now. Now, also this week for our little Tipsy Gypsy wagon, I drove to St. Louis to AZ Liquidations and I bought this amazing copper bathtub here. It was on liquidation. It had a small crack in it. Ronnie was able to get a soldering gun and fix it. It's a copper tub, so we think that it's pretty amazing. There's room for 2. And there's something really, really incredible about just being out here in this tub in nature. I made this cool cover for the bathtub. We felt like it was important just to keep all the little falling items out of it. It does a pretty good job. I put a little drainage hole right in the middle of the cover, so in case it rains, it can still drain through there. It's interesting when you have these vacation rentals, and we're trying to make them just really quirky and unique and cool and create an experience. So a couple of things we did this week. We hung this mirror up back here. That was Misty's mirror. It's interesting, now she's looking for something to replace it in the house, but it was just perfect for out here. Misty and I went antique thrift shopping. Check out these cool candle holders that we hung up here. And how about this frog we found? There was a pipe in the yard that when the grass would grow up over it a little bit, you couldn't really see it. And a couple of times I almost ran over it with the lawnmower. Now no chance of running over it with the lawnmower. We found this really cool wrought iron mirror. Thought it would go great for the Tipsy Gypsy. We needed a little something for decor in the bathroom, so we found this spoon. I thought that would work out really well. When I first bought this property, I was here with Ron, the previous owner. One of the things he said to me is, don't forget to enjoy this place. I went for a walk this week thinking about what Ron had said, don't forget to enjoy this place. So I took my time and I went for a walk up the river, waded all the way from one border of our property to the other border. I walked through the woods. And it's really spectacular what you can see when you just stop and pay attention. So I'd like to encourage each of you to get out in nature if you can this week and just, notice some things that maybe you wouldn't have noticed before and how magnificent and incredible nature truly is. Here's an update on what's been going on with my van. I have to say how blessed I feel that Larry has taken on my van as a project. His work is so precise and so detailed. Even the way that he's painting and finishing the cabinets. Like, if I were doing it, I would just slap one coat of paint on there and be done with it. But he's like putting the paint on there, then he's putting finishing coats and sealing it. When he sends me these updates and tells me what he's done to the van, I'm just blown away by the ingenuity and how much thought has gone into this build. You know, it's kind of funny, I really don't like a lot of change in my living space. I'm hoping that when I get the van back this time that I'm done tweaking it and I can just really enjoy it. Now, if you're interested in a more detailed version, like more like a how-to of what Larry's doing to the van, hop on over to his channel, Ramblin' Man Conversions. But here's a little overview of what's happened with the van this week.
We've just completed this kitchen cabinet for the van we're building for Bev. The big difference in this cabinet is the storage capacity. The earlier cabinet, as you can see, basically had no storage. It had one little slot here to store her single burner propane stove. All underneath this cabinet was a lot of wasted space, but a gray water tank, 5 gallons, and a 5-gallon water, fresh water. She's reduced the size of the gray water tank down to just 1.5 gallons, and we've moved the water out of here. So the next part of the problem was, how do we get this thing plumbed and connected with electricity and water from everything that's now in the bed platform? It was kind of a lucky decision to build this cabinet separate because it enabled me to decide where to put it in here and to open up a gap right here on the side as a kind of a plumbing chase. And let me turn this around and show you. We now have all the utilities coming from the bed platform over on the side, and we have room to come through this side of the cabinet, put a 90, and then bring everything to the back of the cabinet. I've left 5 inches here between the drawers and the back of the cabinet that we're going to be able to do a lot of things with. So I'll bring the water in. I've got a fresh water fill that's 1.25 inch line. I've got 2 3/4 inch lines for the vent and the water supply that goes to the water pump and then to the sink. And then I've got several battery cables going back and forth between there. I think the alternator, the electrical supply from the alternator on the engine, there's a hole in the floor of the van right down here that we're going to use, and I'll be able to bring the power into the DC to DC charger. Then I've got power coming back this way to run a fuse panel in this. The water pumps, the lighting, the USB, everything in this cabinet is going to have a separate fuse block. I like to be able to just make one connection between here and the main battery. I don't like to have multiple circuits running back to some point that I can't access. So we'll bring a larger cable into here, we'll have a fuse block, and then all the electrical will just be wired right here. That also makes it possible for me to do all the work here and then go put this in the van. So I mentioned that this was built earlier as a separate assembly, and the next thing that does for me is it's screwed into place now. To wire all this plumbing and everything, we're going to have some 90-degree fittings, and things are going to be a little tight and a little fiddly. All I have to do is unscrew this. This is wide open. I can get to everything. I'm not having to get into really tight spaces that I can't reach and try to do a hose clamp or something. This just comes out. When we're done, put it back in, put in the screws, done. Said there's going to be a false back right here. One of the requirements that we were really trying to solve is, how do we get a shower in this vehicle? There's a separate water pump for the shower system. So instead of taking the little hose off the faucet that she has.
So I'm pretty excited about the shower that's going in the van. If you saw my shower video, you'd understand that I probably need just a little help here on the shower. I turn the faucet on. Oh! That's not supposed to happen. Let me try that again. I just clip this on. Hopefully it's on this time. All right, turn the faucet on. Shoot. I think I got soap in my eye. All right, I think the problem is there's heat in this hose.
We're going to take a little RV shower and place it right here in this area. It'll have handheld with a shower head, roughly what she has now, but it's going to be run off of separate pumps. We'll also mount the fuse panel back here for all the electrical that's here, so it's easy to get to. If something's not working, you pop the fuse, just open the side door, figure it out, and go on about your ways. I spend so much time thinking about it. It doesn't take that long for me to build it. I probably thought about this last night for 3 hours, but then in an hour and a half, another hour and a half, I had it all cut out, built, and screwed together, and I went home. Getting a lot of paint on the front of the cabinet doors. These are starting to look pretty nice, getting a good finish on them. So the bed platform, I've now got the top surface glued down, screwed. This is fully attached. Yes, that's a lot of holes. That was roughly an hour and a half worth of holes.
Holy moly at the holes in this bed platform. So what the holes do is they lighten up the weight of the bed platform unit, and they also create ventilation between the mattress and the plywood to keep it from like getting mildewy.
So now what we're doing is I'm cutting the access points and determining which wiring is going to go where. This drawer we've done quite a bit. Oh, there's a screwdriver I was looking for earlier. These two tops right here are going to be removable. And I've cut all the access holes for the inverter right here to run all the wiring back through this compartment, back over to the battery. So I've epoxy coated that water tank area so there won't be any issue. So there's, you know, wiring coming from the solar. I've already got all the mounting holes. I basically mounted the DC to DC charger and the inverter and then removed it. I'm going to have a 12 volt negative bus right there that I'm going to hook. I've got 3 big grounds. That's going back to the battery. So I've determined where all my wiring is coming from. So I feel good about that. It's going to be pretty quick to wire up when I get done. These were all ventilation holes for that big inverter because it's going to produce quite a bit of heat. These 2 holes right here, there's a fan under the inverter, 2 fans, and this is right below it. So it'll pull air up through the inverter. The painting and finishing is coming along real good. These drawer fronts are painted. I've got to get a kind of a glossy sealer on those, make them look better. The van's coming good. We've got an induction cooktop that came through, and so all in all, you know, pretty good. Stick with us in another episode or so. We're going to be getting this entire van wired with a big DC to DC charger, a 3,000 watt inverter, and a 200 amp hour lithium battery. We're also going to have the installed 10-gallon water tank and the freshwater pumps.
When I see my van, I get a little melancholy. I miss my van. Like, have any of you ever bonded with a vehicle? Leave me a comment and let me know. I've really bonded with my van, and it truly is my little tiny house on wheels. I'll be happy to get her back in just a couple of weeks. I'll probably head back to Missouri and help Misty here for most of the summer. There are lots of places on the campground I can boondock, or if nobody's renting the Tipsy Gypsy, I would love to just park right here and take advantage of this gorgeous bathtub that we put in. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for watching. Thank you always for subscribing and leaving comments. And remember, you keep watching and I'll keep posting content.